we were being taught about Jesus being arrested, the time when he's about to be arrested, and when he's in the garden with the apostles, getting ready and preparing them for everything that's about to happen. And Jesus asked the apostles, "Do you have swords?"
Mhm.
And they're all kind of like, no, no. What are you talking about? And Jesus gets kind of annoyed with them, at least in the text as it's translated, he gets annoyed, and he's like, well, what do you mean you don't have swords? You need to go get swords. If you have to, you sell your garments in order to get them. Whatever you need to do, you need swords.
Mhm.
So they wind up going ahead and doing that. So, the next morning when he's arrested, the first thing that happens, one of his apostles pulls out one of the swords and cuts off the
Mhm.
ear of the Roman centurion. And this was not in line with the Jesus they'd been teaching me about.
Mhm.
Right.
In school, prior to that, this was an entirely different character. So,
This
you
was
know,
the flipping over the tables Jesus who did that.
this is that, yeah, exactly. This is that Jesus. So I
Mhm.
so I raised my hand and I asked the question, like, hey, why is Jesus having his apostles buy swords, buy weapons? Like, that doesn't really fit in with everything you've told. And the response I got was that I'm not supposed to ask those kinds of questions, and they got mad and called my parents, saying that I'm questioning the Bible. And I'm not really questioning the Bible. I'm asking you to please clarify, what it is you're teaching me. Tell me more, give me more details. So that didn't happen. Um, and later on, I found out, it took like an old Indian man to give me the answer and to explain to me what was what I was missing, or the parts of the story that were left out. Um,
Mhm.
Quickly, the apostles, the majority of them, were members of a group called the Sicarii.
Mhm.
Sicarii literally means dagger men. Right now, these were, revolutionaries who, their main objective was to get the Romans out of there, to end this occupation, and so they, for example, Judas Iscariot, that name, Judas Iscariot, that
Mhm.
last name is indicates that he was a member of the Sicarii,
Right.
Sicarii, Iscariot. Um, so if she would have just given me that little bit of information as, the background of these guys that he was surrounding himself with, that would have clarified everything. That would have been fine. Hey, right. Oh, okay. So that explains it. That's why. Same thing with the turning over of the tables. At that
Mhm.
time, the temple was not just some little rinky-dink hut. It wasn't some place where, anyone could just go in there and get it. There was a Roman garrison there. There were Hebrew garrison there. This is where the center of, at the time, banking, money exchange, all this was going on at the temple. This was the place. This was the hub of business at the time. You couldn't just go in there like by yourself and just start flipping over tables and throwing money around. You'd get yourself killed instantly. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mhm.
But if you had a substantial force with you of armed people, you're more likely to get away with something like that. So anyway, so these things, left me, with questions with no answers.